All right. Well, our virtual folks have left us, so it's just us. It's just us. Nice private gathering. Right? That's right. Over the last couple of years, we've missed three due to the pandemic.
We did.
For 3 years, we had a conference in San Antonio. Then we moved on to Philadelphia, and then we came here to Las Vegas. And I'd like to take this time to tell a story about the NAF logo, because a lot of people don't, people will see a logo and does it mean anything? Well, the answer is it does. In 2017, we embarked on a project to rebrand the National Ataxia Foundation. We met with board members, people who live with ataxia, caregivers, our research community, and try to get an understanding of where we are and where we want to go with the foundation. And the result is the logo, as you see on the, oh, where are we? Emil, where, do we have our logo up? Anywhere, we can use this one right here. You see the dark blue. The dark blue exemplifies strength, first place, and a strong foundation. The light blue exemplifies compassion, which for those who are here for the first time, we hope that when you return home, you'll feel like, you know what, there is a lot of compassion in this community. The circle represents bringing together all communities, our research community, be it principal investigators, clinicians, coordinators, our industry partners, like our sponsors that you see on the table, and also those who live with ataxia, their family members, and their caregivers. This circle brings everybody together. But what I want to call out right now is that gold sliver across the top. That gold sliver is there to provide hope, to tell you that there is hope in this community. There's never been so much going on in this community than there is right now. So when you look at that gold sliver at the top of this circle, I want you to know that this community is all about hope. And what I like to do, and I've done it for a number of years, and I know there's some folks who've been with us who understand this, but we're putting this up here right now, and we're going to auction off this tie over the next several days. This gold tie of hope. And if you want this tie, you can go to joel@ataxia.org and send me your bid, and we'll send this home with you. So, strength, compassion, and hope. That's what we've got going here at the National Ataxia Foundation. Earlier, Dana was introduced as a community member. Trust me, Dana's a lot more than that. She's a support group leader. She's the voice and the host of the Did You Know podcast, and has shared, well, you heard her comments earlier on the things that she deals with at home, and she's not afraid to share those stories. It's part of that compassion. It's part of that community. And the fact is, 14 years ago, Dana was in the same chair where you are as a first-timer, 14 years ago. And now she's with us today as a co-host, a co-MC with me. And we're just going to sit down and have a little chat and talk with you about what it's like, to be a part of this community. So Dana, why don't you take it from here?
Sure, thank you, Joel. Can I see by a show of hands how many people are first-timers? Yes.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
I am
great.
So happy that you're here. So I want to congratulate you for the first step in just getting here, finding the foundation, learning about the conference, and getting here. So at this moment in time, I would like us all to take a deep breath. Can you breathe with me? So take a deep breath in and let it go. And congratulate yourself for making it here. That's step one. Now, what I will tell you because of my experience, so in 2009, my husband John and I went to Seattle, Washington, and it was our first ataxia conference. He had been diagnosed fairly recently. He started showing symptoms in 2006, and we just felt so alone. No one understood what we were going through. not our family, not our friends. And we couldn't really describe it to them because we didn't understand it ourselves. So we needed to figure this out. And we decided, let's go to this conference and let's figure it out. And while we were there, I made myself a crazy person because I over-scheduled myself. I attended every single session that there was. I took copious notes. I ran in between and did all the extracurricular activities and everything else and tried to meet people. And I was completely exhausted, and I retained about this much of it. So here's my challenge for you. My challenge for you this weekend is to do nothing else except network and meet people and find your tribe. There are so many opportunities for you to do that with the Birds of a Feather sessions, to just go up and introduce yourself to another member that has the same type of ataxia that you have. Your job is to leave here with connections that will help make you feel like you're part of a community. Because so often, after you get this diagnosis, you feel like you've lost your community.
Yeah. You know, and to add to that, you know, from over the years, we understand that people, when they come here for the first time, there is a certain amount of anxiety, without a doubt. And you know what? If we could wave a wand and make sure there's no need for the National Ataxia Foundation, we'd do that. And that's what we're working towards. But while we're here, we are going to make the most of it. We are going to work together. We're going to support each other. And I couldn't agree with Dana more that really meet people. There's strength in numbers, right? And getting to know the people sitting next to you that you haven't met. Tomorrow night we'll be getting together geographically for a meet and greet. Get contact information. Get to know the folks that are here with you today. And by all means, the National Ataxia Foundation is here for you. We support and work with all ataxias. I know there was a question earlier on somebody was looking for a neurologist, an ataxia neurologist in their area. Kelsey at our office will help you with that. We want to be your one-stop shop. Come be with us. Let us answer you. Let us help you answer the questions that you have. And if we don't have them right away, we will work hard to get them for you, to get those answers for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking as a spouse, I want to talk to the spouses out there right now. It's a hard job, right? On top of your day job, it's a hard job, and it's someone that you care very deeply about. So you're not just gonna let things happen and roll with the punches. Right. You have a vested interest to want to make sure that that person is well taken care of and that they are supported and that you can do that. But speaking as a spouse, you can't be everything or all things to all people. You really can't. And it's like when you fly, right? And they tell you,
that's right.
If the oxygen comes down, put it on yourself first and then help others later. Right. And it's a really difficult thing to do because there's a lot of guilt in wanting to take care of yourself, but it's so very important. It's so very important.
Tomorrow, you'll have a chance to take part in our Birds of a Feather session. Historically, that is the most valued session that people go to when they go home. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, getting to know the people in your own situation, your similar situation. Make that a very, you'll put some energy into that. You'll get tenfold back, tenfold.
I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing people that I met my very first conference. Or like shortly thereafter, maybe another conference. And one of the things I look forward to every year is coming to the conference to reconnect with those people in person. Yeah. It's really important.
Yeah, this is my 7th year with the foundation. And let me tell you, these last 3 years have been tough, not being able to come together to be with some of the people that we've met 7 years, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. And trust me, we're looking forward to meeting you as first-time attendees and to embrace your involvement with the organization and help you along this journey.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is stay off the internet as much as possible, because you just don't know if you're finding reputable information. And, you know, another funny story, like I'm full of funny stories, so, you know, you might want to be throwing things at me like later in the weekend saying, stop with the stories. But, you know, when John first got diagnosed, I was on the internet all the time. And we'd be sitting watching television, I'd be on my iPad, and I'd be like, oh, I think this is what you have. And I would read like all the symptoms. You have all these symptoms. This has to be what you have.
There you go.
And he was like, you know, if I listen to you, there's a list this long of things that I have, and we don't even know what I have. So, you know, the internet sometimes can be a foe instead of a friend. But in terms of the Ataxia Foundation, it's a really reputable source of information, and it's like a one-stop shop, so you can get a lot of valuable information out there. And Joel said that I was, you know, I did the podcast for the Did You Know podcast. Let me tell you how that started. So in 2014, I had it up to here with people not knowing about ataxia. And everywhere I went, I had to describe what was the matter with my husband, why he was walking funny, why, you know, he was passing out all over the place.
Right.
And there were a number of things that I just had enough. I wanted people to know about this. So I decided that for International Ataxia Awareness Day, which is on September 25th every year, I would do something leading up to that day to create awareness and education about ataxia. So on September 1st, I decided I would shoot on my iPhone a 30-second clip, and I would give one fact a day about ataxia. And then on the 25th, hopefully somebody would remember just something that I said, just one thing, and that would be a win. So my husband said, no, you know, we can't do it on an iPhone. We got to do it, you know, we have video equipment.
Right.
We've got to videotape it. And then we can't just put it on Facebook. We got to hit all the social media markets, and we've got to do, you know, all this stuff. He's like, we got to publicize this. All right, fine, I'll go along for that ride. Well, now, all these years later, it's viewed in 17 countries, and we have like unbelievable amounts of views because people want to know what is ataxia and how does it affect people and what's like the common everyday things I need to know about this disease. So that's what, you know, we aim to do with that podcast. Yeah. So.
Also, some of you know, if you've gone to our website, you know, we have support groups all over the country. We hope you'll use that website to connect with support group leaders and members in your part of the country as well. And if once again, if you're having trouble with any of that, trying to find the right connection, certainly reach out to us at the foundation. So
yeah, support is so important, so important.
Yeah, you know, I guess, you know, you talk about, you know, the one thing to really do here is really connect and get to know people. As I mentioned earlier, when you get home and you see the gold, and that light blue is also that piece of compassion. Know that you're not alone in this deal. Know that you're not alone, and it goes beyond the people in this room. And I hope that'll give you all some comfort as you're on this journey.
Yeah, and the support groups are terrific because they begin here. Yeah. With the birds of a feather.
Right.
And then you find your other support groups maybe in your area. But the beauty of it is that when you go to those, everybody in the room is dealing with ataxia. Everybody already knows what it is. Everybody knows what the challenges are. So in that setting, you can be who you are. So the first time we, you know, found our support group, it was like we attended as John and Dana. Not as John with ataxia and Dana, who's his spouse. Right. It was like we could really talk about who we are as people, which gets lost in the shuffle, I think. I think, you know, when you get diagnosed with ataxia, at least for us, it was all about the ataxia all the time. And you got lost in that, like who you were as a person. seemed no longer relevant. It was more the focus of ataxia. So I think that these are a way for you to feel like yourself, feel like, you know, your own person, and to just really not have to worry about ataxia for a few minutes.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Questions. Lori, has anything been coming in? We'd love to spend the next 15 minutes answering any questions you may have.
We got a few questions here.
I don't have a question, but I do want to address Dana, because the first time I came to the conference was because of what you and John on YouTube talking about ataxia. So I think in the internet, nothing goes away. So if you want to go on YouTube and see Dana and John, and Dana does a 1 minute, like a few seconds about what is ataxia. It's priceless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
We either answered a
over
lot,
there.
or we've really.
One over there.
No, that's
We have a
good.
question over there.
I didn't see you looking at me. Hi, I'm Christine Rickson, and I talked with Joel during Birds of a Feather. I started Rare Together Worldwide, and it is for ultra-rare spinocerebellar ataxias. And I'm excited to be here because I wanted to meet everybody with the different ataxias, especially the ultra-rare spinocerebellar SCAs. And the thing is, the doctors, they don't know anything about us. And it's going to take us making the connections with each other and banding together, like Joel said, like these two said, and coming together and sharing our medical records, our experiences, coming together as a community and letting people know that we're out here, that we exist. And if we want to change how the doctors see us and how people see us, we're going to have to change that narrative and come together as one. And we're going to be the only way that that's going to happen. And, you know, it's great that we get this opportunity. I'm excited to be able to do that. And yay, I can't wait. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You bring up a really excellent point. So I will say, having been involved in this diagnosis for the number of years that I have, I've seen great strides in doctors knowing more today than they did back then. But you're absolutely right. We have to educate the doctors as well as like to the symptoms, to the experience, to the challenges. So you're absolutely right in that. And one of the things that, if I can leave you with a couple of pieces of information and advice, one would be to be tracking what is going on with your symptoms. Because what happens is these doctor appointments are spread out over a period of time. Usually it's like 3 months, 6 months. A lot can happen within that time frame. So if you're tracking and keeping notes, it gives you something to refer back to so that when the doctor says, so, what's been going on? You don't have to recall all of it. You have a notebook or something that, you know, find a method that works for you, but you can flip back and you can say, oh, well, this has been going on. And you will also see trends over that time period or progression over that time period. So that would be something I would offer. And then something else I would offer is see if your physician is okay with taping the appointment. We all have phones that have recording devices on them. And when you sit down to get that information and they start to tell you stuff, just say, is it all right if I record this? Because then you can go home and you can listen to it 100 times if you have to, and you can also play it for other people in your family. So I would just say, encourage you to do that.
There you go.
We have a hand up, Gloria, again, over here.
Christine, I got to thank you. You know, one of the things, listening to these questions up here today, it reminds me how good it is to be in person. Because, I mean, you people are really three-dimensional. I mean, for the last 3 years, I feel everybody's just on a flat screen. It's so good to be here.
It really is.
And sorry, I just wanted to say one more thing. And a lot of people get intimidated, and I used to be intimidated at the doctor and stuff, thinking that they knew and they were the end-all, say-all. But what I've really realized is that when it comes to our ataxias, we are the experts. And we know because we live with it day in and day out. And it's going to take us being a part of the solution, because without us, they're not going to know. And you shouldn't be afraid to tell them. And a lot of times, doctors that don't know, they're over there Googling SCA whatever, or ataxia this, or ataxia that, because they don't know. So, you know, a lot of times these doctors that, you know, think that they're all that are going to try to make you feel like they know it all, and they don't.
Very good.
And if you get one that doesn't want to deal with you, go to somebody else. Don't get discouraged. Go to somebody else. Sorry.
Great.
That's my soapbox, I promise.
Thank you.
So enjoy the conference, pace yourself, and we have a couple of questions up in the back.
Yep.
But enjoy it, pace yourself, and also please make connections.
Okay. This question is for Joel.
Yes.
What is the cutoff time for your tie? I want to make sure that if I get the wedding bid, I
You know
can
what?
wear it
I
to
appreciate-
dinner on Saturday night.
You know what? You know what? You're reading my mind from way back then. I was gonna like, God, I gotta tell folks how long this is open. We're gonna give the award this on Saturday night at the banquet. So you'll have a little time, and we'll get some other bids in, and everybody else feel like you want to. I want you to bid it up, because I think it has a home back there. But
And what is that? What is that address again for bids, Joel?
Yep, Joel at ataxia.org. That's great. Thank you. All right.
All right.
I think we're
Oh.
good. Oh, got a question.
Thank you. My name is Mike Leader, and I at one time remember being that first timer, and it turned out to be that same meeting where you were and with John in Seattle.
Yep.
And I can remember when my wife and I were there with our daughter Jennifer, who's a member of our family who has ataxia, how overwhelming it was to meet people who were further along in their journey through ataxia than we were, and wondering whether, you know, this was an ataxia that was going to move rapidly or slowly, or just what the future held. And I just want to reassure you that there is so much more hope and organization and so many more resources today than there were those 14 years ago. Even though the foundation is 66 years old, it's hard to believe. It has come so far in the last 14 years that you would be amazed. You know, we didn't have a chief development officer at the time like Joel.
Right.
We didn't have a chief scientific officer and a team to go out and get the research funds that are so important. We didn't have a treatment that's now available for some forms of ataxia. We were at that time studying a certain type of vitamin, a derivative of coenzyme Q10, to see if that might help, and turned out it really didn't. Can't even remember the name of it anymore, but I just want to assure you that this organization is really on the move. Great people. Not that the old group wasn't dedicated to, but they didn't have the resources and the skills that they needed. So I just want you, join us. I think we had under 1,500 members at the time, and if you see the website, it's now over 12,000. Right. So we are stronger together than alone, and we're also better and more positive together. So thank you for coming, and That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a question, Lori?
Yep.
Yep, okay.
Hi, my name is Ruth Davenport, and I attended my first conference in probably 2001, 2002. It was in San Diego, and it was right after my daughter was diagnosed, and it scared me to death, and I never came back. I'm back with my daughter now. But I was like you, where there were so many things there that I didn't want to see, and like Christy was talking about, that you don't want to accept. So I've gone through these 22 years trying to figure out stuff. I did stay away from the internet after a while. But I have gotten my information from there in helping with the doctors. But I'm so excited to be here now with my daughter. It's the first time she's ever met anyone with ataxia. We're from a real small town. We haven't been in support groups. But thank you for what you do. And we're excited to network, and we don't want to miss another one.
Great.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
That's a great story, great story. Yeah, it is frightening to see sometimes people at different progressions.
I think we have time for one more if there is one. Otherwise, let's see. All right, well, you know what? You've made the first big step by coming. Welcome. Hope you meet a lot of people over the next couple of days. Hope you create some great memories. NEF is here for you. The people sitting next to you are there for you. Our entire community wants to be with you along this journey. Our exhibit hall has got some great things for you. There'll be, we've recently partnered with a group called Day Undefined to help identify devices and tools that can help you in your daily living. I hope you'll swing by their exhibit space. A lot of good things there for you to take a look at. And all at the same time, we ask you to pace yourself, meet some folks, have a great couple of days. I think that's it for today. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 8:30, sharp, something like that. Dull, 8:30, dull. So thanks for being with us today. Thanks for joining us, and let's have a good rest of the day. Dana, anything else?
Nothing else.
All right,
Thank you
babe.
very much.
Thank you.